This is Restless by Design. Before we begin, I just want to say this is a place to slow down, to notice what's just beneath the surface. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Chapter 8. Failure is the baseline. It's not the interruption, it's the environment. Failure is one of those hot topics, right? Like perfectionism. It's one of those words that we have heard time and time again, and everyone has their preconceived notions or the little voices from our parents who taught us what those words mean. I think this discussion, much like perfectionism, is something we can reframe. So, failure is often treated like something to overcome, a phase, a setback, a deviation from the path, right? It's that binary thinking good, bad, it worked, it didn't work, and then it's over. But in most creative work, it doesn't actually function that way. Failure isn't the interruption, it's the environment. Okay, a seed goes into the ground, then nothing, no confirmation, no signal, just dirt, and you keep watering it anyway. Not because you can see it working, but because you trust something is happening underneath. And if you don't water it, it's definitely not going to work. This is not failure. This is just how growing works. Things don't land, people don't respond, opportunities don't materialize, ideas don't translate the way that you thought they would. Not occasionally. This can be consistent. And no, it does not feel good. There is nothing particularly inspiring about putting something in the world and not knowing what happens next, or watching something that you cared about not connect the way that you expected. Ouch. Or sitting in the quiet after effort without a clear sense of what it meant. That space is uncomfortable because it doesn't offer any resolution. There's no obvious correction, no clean takeaway, just uncertainty, almost a void, vacuum, if you will. We are taught to look for meaning in everything, to treat every outcome as feedback, learn, adjust, improve. But what happens when the feedback isn't clear, or when the response doesn't match the effort, or when things just don't land? It's easy to make that mean something about your work, about your direction, about you. But that interpretation isn't always accurate because failure is a constant. And the reason I like to use the word constant is because it goes back to scientific experiments. It is always going to be present. And that is important and it is essential. And it can feel really personal in creative work, but sometimes it's just structural. It's part of working inside something that doesn't guarantee outcomes, that doesn't confirm each step, that doesn't offer a clear path forward. And this is where it becomes really disorienting because without consistent signals, it's hard to see where you are. I mean, if you're moving in the right direction, if you should keep going, or if you should change something. So then the instinct becomes, oh, I'm going to interpret this silence to extract the meaning from what isn't happening. I'm going to look into this void and I am going to take this silence as feedback. Well, there is no feedback. So that doesn't really make any sense to go in that direction. Sometimes it's just an absence of a response, or people aren't ready to respond yet, right? Like we talked about in previous chapters. In marketing, for instance, before someone becomes a new customer, they need to be exposed to something one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, sometimes 50 times before they trust, okay, I'm going to make the purchase. I'm going to make the jump. So this distinction matters because it changes how you move. We're not trying to avoid failure then. Maybe we're learning to work with it or to keep building, even when nothing is being reflected back to you yet. Just stay connected to what you're making and not needing immediate confirmation, not because this feels good, but because this is part of the structure. And over time, something will begin to form. Again, accumulation. It might not always be quickly. Sometimes it will be quickly. It'll be right away. Oh my goodness, I had no idea I was going to get a response already. And then silence. And then, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. The pacing isn't something that we can foresee, but to keep showing up without a consistent feedback loop, that's the part that's easy to overlook. And it's not the moment when everything clicks, it's the stretch where it doesn't, where you're still in it, still working, still unsure, and choosing to just continue anyway. Not perfectly, not with full confidence, but with enough confidence because learning comes from doing, and progress doesn't always look like success. Sometimes it just looks like staying, continuing, adjusting, and then showing up again. Sometimes you have to show up without a clear signal that you should, and trusting even slightly that something is building, even when you can't see it yet. Progress doesn't always look like success. Sometimes it looks like staying quietly, without confirmation, without applause, just continuing. That counts.